Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. We are from Group 3 with members Melanie Putri Ramadhani, Naswa Suci Aprilia, and I am Sativa Anjanita as a speaker today. Today we are exploring the wonderful, challenging, and incredibly rewarding world of teaching young learners. Teaching children requires a special kind of educator, one with bundles energy, infinite passions, and a genuine love for those light bulb moments when a child suddenly understands something new. If you've taught young learners before, you know that a typical class might involve singing songs, playing active games, using dramatic gestures, and constantly moving around the classroom. By the end of the day, you might feel physically exhausted. But why does teaching young learners require so much energy? To answer that questions, we need to understand their unique characteristic. Before we dive in, I'd love to hear from a few of you. What's one thing you find most challenging about teaching children? Now let's explore about characteristics of young learners. Young learners are fundamentally different from adult learners in several important ways. First, they are naturally active and energetic. While adults can sit through a lecture, children need to move. They are also wonderfully spontaneous. They say what they think and react immediately to stimuli in their environment. Young learners simply cannot sit still for long periods. Their bodies are designed for movement and explorations. They are tactile learners who learn through touch. They want to handle objects and explore their physical properties. And crucially, they are kinesthetic learners who process and retain information through physical movement. Now I'm curious, what other characteristics have you observed in your young learners? Let's share a few observations. Next, we're talking about kinesthetic learning. Kinesthetic learning is at the core of how young children interact with the world. They learn by doing and moving. As teachers, we need to recognize that expecting children to sit quietly at desks all day isn't just challenging. It works against their natural learning style. When we incorporate movement into our lessons, we are not just keeping children engaged. We are actually enhancing their language acquisition process. The physical movement creates stronger memory connections. Now, let's discuss about tactile learning. Along with being kinesthetic, young learners are highly tactile. They explore the world through touch. When teaching vocabulary like soft, rough, smooth, or ball, having actual objects for children to handle creates deeper understanding and stronger retention. For example, imagine teaching the word ball. I could simply show a picture card and have students repeat ball. Or I could bring in actual balls of different sizes and textures. Let the children bunch them, throw them, and feel them, connecting the word with the actual experience. What objects could you bring into your classroom to teach different vocabulary tests? Think about animals, colors, or classroom objects. Understanding these characteristics leads us to a fundamental principle: developmentally appropriate teaching. This means designing our lessons and activities to match children's natural developmental stage, rather than forcing them to adapt to our preferred teaching style. When our teaching methods align with how children naturally learn, We create effective learning environments where children thrive. Take a moment to think about your recent lessons. How could you make them more developmentally appropriate for your young learners? Let's experience a simple activity that incorporates kinesthetic learning. That is Simon Says. This classic game engages children's natural need for movement while teaching vocabulary and listening skills. It's simple but powerful. Let's try it. Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Touch your nose. And if anyone touches their nose, pointing it out with humor. See how this keeps learners active and engaged while practicing body parts vocabulary? It also practices listening skills and following instructions. Beyond being kinesthetic and tactile, young learners are imaginative. They have high imaginations. They love stories and role-playing activities. Curious, they want to know why about everything. They have interest in exploring objects. And not easily distracted. If there is something interesting, then what the teacher explained, they can ignore it. Any new stimulus can capture their attention, and they have short attention spans, typically 5 to 15 minutes depending on their age. How can we address this characteristic in our teaching? What strategies have you found effective? Based on these characteristics, some effective teaching strategies include using stories and narratives to engage imaginative learners, taking learning walks where possible to satisfy curiosity, incorporating games, videos, and songs to maintain engagement, and then keeping the pace quick and exciting with smooth transitions, using a variety of short activities rather than lengthy lessons. So, what strategies have you found particularly effective with your young learners? Next, let's move on into creating an effective classroom for young learners. It means understanding your students' developmental characteristics, like matching activities to those characteristics, keeping lesson interactive and engaging, incorporating plenty of movement and hands-on learning, maintaining your energy and passions, even on challenging days. How might you redesign your classroom environments to better suit your young learners' characteristics? Teaching young learners demands our energy, creativity, and passion, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we understand their developmental characteristics and design our teaching accordingly, we create joyful, effective learning environments. And then the challenge is absolutely worth it when you see children's growth, enthusiasm, and love of learning develop before your eyes. As we conclude, I'd love to hear what aspect of teaching young learners do you find most rewarding? Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.